y'all. Welcome to the Hillbilly Chicken Ranch, Homestead Happenings, Episode 7. We've gone from hot weather, rainy weather, back to cooler temps, all within a week's time. Fall has officially arrived. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of glad the garden has slowed down and the majority of this year's garden canning is done. It's time to turn my attention to the home pantry. My grandma's home pantry was a root cellar under their log cabin home. She stored all their canned goods there, and it doubled as a roost for the chickens. The dogs stood guard and never worried about the predators. But those jars had to get a major washing before opening, let me tell you. I'll never forget the smell in that old root cellar. My grandma's biscuits. She always saved a piece of the dough back for the next batch. Both of my grandmothers were the best cooks, cooking from scratch, and the best food I've ever eaten. I'm blessed to come from a family of good cooks. My Aunt Rachel made smothered pork chops in a pressure cooker. Oh my, it was so good. There's something about the good foods that were harvested and canned up for the winter months. It sustained the family and was important to get the harvest in and preserved. This is why a well-stocked pantry is the secret ingredient to better home cooking, meal prep, and savings. My grandma's root cellar pantry always had a beautiful and colorful jars of food lined up to choose from. It made meal prep and planning so much easier, and with 10 mouths to feed, I'm sure she spent a lot of time planning her garden and canning. No wonder she was such an amazing cook. There was love in every jar and every plate served. The benefits of having a home pantry is that it saves time. No last-minute grocery runs. It saves money because there's less waste, and you can take advantage of a grocery store or farmer's market sales. It reduces stress by always having a meal foundation. And let's not forget the emergency preparedness is basic food security. I'm going to introduce you to stocking, organizing, and maintaining a home pantry. You will need a space to hold all your canned goods. We converted a small bedroom for our pantry. Using blackout curtains to cover the window, I also recycled some silver bubble wrap from the Azure Standard Hall that they were giving away. It adds extra insulation to that window. Next is the temperature control. We have central heat and air, so vents close in the winter and vents open in the summer. Home canned goods need a dark, cool space. You will need to inventory every few months. Remove any bad jars that are no longer sealed or way past the expiration date. Usually home canned goods are good for 18 months up to about 2 years. Some will last longer. For the store-bought canned goods, there is a best used by date on those cans. That doesn't mean that the food has expired in the can. It means that you can use it up to that date and it's best used by that date. However, the store-bought canned goods can last several years, but I wouldn't use them past 10 years. Just saying that as a number. You choose the number, but usually it's 4 to 5 years past that date those foods stay good for you to consume. As I just stated, most home canned foods have a shelf life of 18 months or longer. We have some jelly from 2018 on our pantry shelf that is still sealed and perfectly good to consume. You'll need to check your dry goods too. Flour can get mealybugs, even in a jar. It's a good time to clean your jars and shelves when you do inventory. Create a use-it-up space or a basket for items that need to be used up first. Here's a comprehensive list of categories for stocking your foundational staples. A core list, so to speak. Grains and starches such as rice, pasta, oats, quinoa, cornmeal, and flour. Canned goods like beans and tomatoes. Broths, tuna and salmon. Baking staples such as sugar, baking soda, baking powder, yeast, and extracts. Oils and vinegars. Spices and seasonings like salt and pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and other herbs like basil, oregano, thyme, sage, rosemary, and parsley. If you are planning a larder with perishable root vegetables that doesn't need refrigeration like potatoes, onions, and garlic, you can use a root cellar or an old freezer that has been buried in the ground for easy access. But planning a space where your vegetables can get plenty of air circulation, always know what vegetables can be stored together. It's also important to know what vegetables need to be stored separately. The culprit is ethylene gas, a natural odorless gas that certain fruits and vegetables emit as a ripening agent. It can lead to spoilage of other sensitive produce stored nearby. Another culprit is moisture and smell transfer. Some items require high humidity, like certain root vegetables, while others require dry air, like onions and garlic. Storing them together makes both spoil faster. Onions and garlic can easily create odors to be absorbed by nearby items. So, potatoes, you keep that away from garlic, onions, and apples. Apples, you keep away from all other vegetables. Potatoes and other root vegetables like carrots, beets, and parsnips like cool, dark, and moderately humid, like in a garage, basement, or unheated closet. Use baskets, paper bags, or burlap sacks. Never store in plastic bags because plastic bags trap moisture and will accelerate the rot. Here's a pro tip for root veggies like carrots and beets. Cut off the green tops before storing, as leaves draw moisture out of the root, causing them to wilt faster. Onions and garlic like a cool, dark, and dry place like a pantry shelf or cabinet. We hang our onions and garlic, but you can use mesh bags or open baskets for maximum air circulation. Never store in plastic or closed drawers. Fall fruits like apples and pears need refrigeration for best long-term storage. Pumpkins and winter squash are some of the best foods for long-term storage. They need cool but not cold conditions, 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Dry moderate, between 50 to 70% humidity. Airflow. Don't touch them until you're ready to use. Avoid apples and pears and do not store on concrete floors. Pumpkins need to cure for 7 to 10 days before storing. Potatoes should be cured at 100 degrees Fahrenheit for 7 days with the dirt on. Washing them before storage limits their shelf life. In your home pantry, you will need strong shelving to store all of your canned goods or purchase canned goods. If you live in an earthquake zone like we do, you will need extra supports added to hold the canned goods in place. Leave enough room for you to move between the shelves if you're like me and have a small space. Okay, let's load those shelves. Create zones so that your pantry is well organized. Here's a few examples of what kind of zones that you would like to have in your pantry. You would need a baking zone, a breakfast zone for cereals, oats, and pancake mixes, canned goods, all canned goods by type, a snack zone for those grab-and-go items. I sort my vegetables and fruits, jams, relishes, and pickles. Condiments like sauces, pizza sauce, marinara or meat sauce, barbecue sauce would be considered a condiment, along with ketchup and mustard. Then I would have a place for meats, my dry goods like beans, pasta, and flour and grains. And if you're like me, you have a few pie fillings on your shelf as well. You might want to put those either with your fruits or with your baked goods, just for easy access. Then there is the accessibility rule. Frequency of use. Eye level, the most used items, spices, oils, everyday essentials. I keep only overflow spices in my canning pantry. My spices have their own cabinet in my kitchen. Lower shelves would be for bulk items and heavier items. Top shelves would be backstock or seasonal items. Canning jars, canning supplies, and canners take up a lot of room, and you may need a separate storage area for those. Most home canned goods use flat lids, bands removed, are not stackable, so think of risers or plan your shelves according to the jar height to maximize your space. Think half pints, pints, quarts, half gallon, gallon, and 5-gallon buckets. And don't forget to label everything. Label, label, label. Date the product was produced and what it's contained in the container. The planning loop. Be sure to check your pantry before making grocery lists to avoid buying doubles. Rotate your products. Oldest is used first. The rule of thumb is first in, first out. Plan your meals from your pantry. After all, it's a personal grocery store in your home. Some common issues will be dealing with a small pantry space and handling bulk buys and overflow storage. Pantry life is a delicate balance between we have nothing to eat and I can't even close the door. Knowing that you have plenty of food on your pantry shelves brings us peace in the troubled times. It's about abundance and blessings. Luke 6:38 out of the King James Version says, "Give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet withal, it shall be measured to you again." In Deuteronomy 28:8 it says, "The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thine storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee." Make sure you do an audit or inventory of your stock on hand several times a year. Restock is needed. Organize and clean to maintain a good working pantry. My pantry is a testament to optimism. I believe one day I will actually use all those spices, the 3 different types of vinegars, and the backup of all those dry beans in 5-gallon buckets. I challenge you to start a home pantry if you haven't done so already, and to tackle one zone in your pantry this week. Next week's podcast, Seed Saving for the Next Year, I'll be sharing tips, storage, and why it matters for self-reliance. Upcoming events on my channel. Scarecrow 25 is an open collaboration for the month of October. Please be sure to join in and submit a video to join in the fun. I'll leave a link to the playlist below so that you can check out all the requirements. Make sure that you're tagging channels. In November brings the Open Thankful 50 Challenge 25, where you share 50 things that you're thankful for. And in that one, you tag 3 channels. In December, it won't be a collaboration, but it will be a lot of fun. We will be having a gingerbread Christmas. Follow along and see how I transform our home for Christmas, and you will enjoy all the little crafts that I do along the way. If you find this podcast helpful, please share it out and save it for future reference. If you're new to my channel, please friend me, hype me, and bookmark it so you'll get all my content. Thank you to all my channel members for supporting my channel financially. There are 3 levels to choose from starting at 99 cents a month, and you control how long you support me. Funds are used to help with our expenses, giveaways, and property updates. This podcast is every Tuesday at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for visiting with me today. My content drops daily. Be blessed and a blessing to others. Until next time.